People are really excited to see Canada's back at these things because Canada was a big, we're a little player in the world, there's no question. We don't have a big impact on the world's total carbon output. I mean, China's number one, the United States is number two. And we're way down that list. But we always played a really important kind of facilitating role. We're really back, and people were really happy. When the Prime Minister stood up today and said, Canada's back, it wasn't the Canadians that started clapping for him. It was a whole bunch of other people in the middle of the speech. That says a lot. I think people want to respect us. Well, we're doing better in Canada than anybody else. If there's a story for the federal government to tell here, it is our story. It's the cumulative story of every province and what we've done. So now, we've been leaders for 8 years. Alberta is coming closer to what we're trying to do. By 2018, when their carbon tax kicks in, we're going to have 86% of the Canadian population covered by carbon pricing, which is pretty significant. I know that in theory, having binding targets is better, but I don't know if it's actually made a difference when we've had them before. I would argue the better thing to do, the more important thing to do, is to have really clear, transparent, apples to apples comparisons of carbon emissions and then hold countries accountable for that. Name it and shame it. Celebrate what's worked and talk about what hasn't worked and do it in a really public way after the fact. I think renewed optimism that we're going to get something done on this climate problem that we're all facing. And, in Canada, it's going to be worse than most of the rest of the world because it's going to be a bigger increase in temperature in northern climates than in southern ones. So if there's a 2-degree increase in temperature around the world, it's going to be a 4-degree increase in places like BC. That's going to have a big impact. Pine beetle, forest fires, floods, you name it. Learning about how the developing countries, their emissions are just going through the roof. They need solutions. There are 150 coal plants on the books to be built very soon in China. Well, here we are. The worst air quality day in Beijing was yesterday. They need these solutions or they're going to build those coal plants. We can stop them from building those coal plants by exporting LNG. Citizens have to drive their governments to do better, and they can only do it with more information.